Hello everyone and welcome to Season 6, Episode 30 of Pro Wrestling's Top 50. I'm your host Travis McNeil, and today we continue our countdown of the top 50 matches of 2021 with match number 21 on our list, which is the finals of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament between Hiromu Takahashi and YOH from the New Japan Pro Wrestling Best of the Super Juniors 28 and World Tag League 2021 Night 12, held on December the 15th of 2021. So for the second year, Hiromu Takahashi makes magic happen in the Best of the Super Juniors finals, coming out of, a winter tournament when it's normally held in the spring and early summer. I'll say it, an underwhelming, COVID era New Japan tournament. I'm in a way shocked that it took this long on the countdown for a New Japan match to make the list, but also at the same time, not shocked. It's been clear the struggles that New Japan has had during the pandemic, and overall, lack of hype and enthusiasm for the product. Weird, online social media tendencies when it comes to, taking down and going after people posting GIFs, which is a good way, to get excitement about your shows. So, I don't quite understand that approach. Some questionable booking decisions and, just the pandemic in general, leading to these, we call them clap crowds now, that, has created a somewhat stagnant product. However, that's not to say that 2021 didn't have, a bunch of still high quality matches. This one certainly being one of them. And this is an interesting match because it goes a really long time. It runs, I believe, like 38 minutes, the longest finals ever in the history of the Best of the Super Juniors tournament. And this is a tournament that's normally known for the, the shorter, more action-packed junior heavyweight style matches. When I saw the length of this match, I had zero enthusiasm, going into watching it. But I still felt that, the need to watch it. And it blew me away to a certain point. I thought it was, so much better than it may have seemed on paper. And it really was a classic tournament final. And the story that they had here was really good, where on night one of the tournament, Hiromu Takahashi blew YOH out the water, beat him in like under 4 minutes. That led to some early struggles for YOH in the tournament, but then things started to click for him. He started to go on this run that saw him, coming into before finals night, being right there, with his rival, his former tag team partner Show, where the winner of their match would make the finals, and he was able to, defeat his rival and get a big victory and see himself, back in the finals against a man that he has a lot to prove against. Hiromu Takahashi, the biggest junior heavyweight star of this era, I'll say, one of the best wrestlers in general for New Japan Pro Wrestling. He is a phenomenon, coming back from, near career-ending broken neck injuries and just in everything this dude has persevered through. And he's going into this match, trying to be one of, I believe, only 3 back-to-back Best of the Super Junior tournament winners, and I believe only the second person, or maybe third, in history to win the tournament 3 times. So he's got a lot on his plate as well. This may seem like it's YOH's big comeback and moment, but he's certainly, not going to roll over and play dead and let him take it. So just, the contrast of these two in this match is something that kind of visually, in a weird sort of way, makes it so great. You have Hiromu, who is this, flashy wrestler with the colorful attire, the eccentric demeanor, the colorful hair. He's very tan. And then you have YOH being the complete opposite, being a lot thinner than Hiromu, being, very pale and somewhat pasty, wearing all white attire, just no flash or substance to him at all. And it leads to this great contrast, and just it creates this visual that becomes this natural underdog story of, YOH battling this guy that is, a full-fledged superstar and trying to prove he belongs and trying to prove that, he can come back from that 4-minute loss. And, he needs to prove that he deserves to be in the finals and needs to prove that he can win the finals. And that is the story of the match here. And very much like he did in the El Desperado match, where I felt that Hiromu helped elevate his opponent, make him switch into another gear, and put on a career performance. That match landed in the top 50 matches of 2020, which was season 1. Here he does the same with Yo, and helps Yo find himself and create a career-defining performance in this match. And with El Desperado, recording this video in 2022, he's one of the primary junior heavyweights, the best of the Super Juniors. 2022 is actually ongoing while I record these videos, and he is being positioned as the star in that tournament that also involves Hiromu, and also involves Yo. So, he was really able to capitalize on the success of his finals against Hiromu, and I hope that's something that, long-term Yo is able to do as well. It didn't exactly strike while the iron was hot coming out of this, but he's someone with a world full of potential. The opening for this match is really great. They kind of do some tit-for-tat opening sequences, and Hiromu decides, like, I need to push the tempo and I need to up, the level of intensity in this match, because I want it to be quick, easy, and done, just like it was on night 1 of the tournament. So they leads to these intense, like, slap and chop sequences, and Yo just gets his chest completely blistered. It's raw, it's chopped open. Hiromu ups that intensity, takes him to the floor, hits the big drop kick off the apron. And, Yo is so great here, bringing just like tons of fire and not rolling over and dying and trying to fight back and do everything that he couldn't do, in their 4-minute sprint of a contest. And, he brings all of this fire, and he actually wins, one of the chop battles. But after he's able to take Hiromu down, he basically just collapses himself and sells his ripped open chest. And Hiromu's actually back to his feet before Yo is, and is basically like, begging him to stand up and keep fighting, and kind of egging him on, almost seeing something, in the youngster, seeing that fighting spirit and going, okay, this isn't the same guy that I wrestled at the start of the tournament. This is somebody that wants this, and if he wants it, I'm gonna make him earn it from me. It's just a great, easy, compelling pro wrestling story. Yo gets this moment where he kind of goes on a little bit of an offensive run. He gets a drop toe hold into the ropes, and he, pounces on Hiromu's leg and really starts to go to work on that. And something that I love is, once this happens, once Yo finally starts to get an advantage in the match, that's where Hiromu like almost goes into desperation of, like, I need to finish this match. Like, we went into deeper waters than we did, in our first match together. This guy, like, is starting to get the best of me. He's not, lying down, and I need to put him away. And he grabs like a quick Rana and transitions it into the triangle choke that he'd been using as a finishing move, at certain points throughout 2021. And I loved that. Like, it showed this kind of like desperation, and, the importance of the win here. And that, to me, more than anything, really put Yo over in this match. Not only, him showing all of these fighting spirit, all of this fighting spirit and having the ripped open chest and not lying down, but Hiromu really having to kind of like go deep into his bag of tricks early to try to put him away. He gets the corner DVD shortly after that and tries to, beat him with time bomb. But Yo is able to counter out of that and hit a big German suplex just to kind of stay in there. And that leads, again, more desperation from Hiromu, where he starts like using all of these roll-ups and like trying to get these quick near falls, because he knows that this match goes longer, like, I might not win. And it leads to him hitting a big pop-up powerbomb. He hits a Death Valley driver on the apron. So again, just, quickly going for these like big, murder, death, kill moves to put this dude away. He goes for the sunset flip powerbomb off the ring apron, but Yo is able to counter that into a Hurricane Rana and hit a big toe pick on Hilo. And this leads to kind of the controversial, moment of the match that, some are going to love, some are going to hate, some might be indifferent to. But Sho comes out while both of these guys are on the floor. The referee is kind of out of it, and he drops his former partner Yo, his rival that he'd been beefing with his finishing move, the shock arrow, which is kind of like a cross-arm sort of pile driver thing on the arena floor, and basically looks over at Hiromu, grabs him, and says, "Go finish him." Right? So We talk so much about like all of these, Bullet Club matches and these House of Torture matches and just these interference-laden things that have really sullied a lot of people like myself on the overall New Japan product. So to see, this tournament finals, that seemed like it was just going to be a hot one-on-one match get riddled with this, it was really disappointing. But then something happens where I feel like it added to the overall story of this match. Hiromu won't take the win that way. He's mad at Sho. So Sho ends up dropping Hiromu with the shock arrow on the floor as well. Goes over to the referee Red Shoes and basically says, call it off. No contest. Nobody wins the best of the Super Juniors. Screw this tournament. I didn't win it, so no one's winning it. And Red Shoes refuses to call for the bell. And it leads to this amazing moment where these two different stables that, definitely haven't always gotten along in Chaos, Yo's a member of their group, and Los Ingobernables de Japón, which, Hiromu is a member of, coming out and basically joining together to run Sho off. And both of them, prepping their men back up after, being pile driven on the concrete floor. And, this is an elongated sequence of the match. Red Shoes refuses to do the count out. Both of these guys, sell the injury based off the pile drivers, really putting over the force of that maneuver. I feel like this is a point where some people were frustrated with this match or maybe took them out of the match a little bit. But there's something that I loved here. Not only, the banding together and it creating this great, face versus face atmosphere with the two stables out there, but the crowd is, New Japan crowds during the pandemic, they haven't been great. They're these clap crowds that we talked about. Although they don't cheer, and I wish they could have because they would have been so hot here, almost the entire time that both of these guys on the floor, they give them the clap and they try to rally both of these guys back to their feet, back into the ring, back ready to fight. And that shows that the love, and the connection that the crowd has to both of these individuals. And again, this match to me is all about the elevation of Yo throughout the story of it. So, yes, the crowd loves Hiromu, but just as much, they're willing Yo back into this battle. And to me, it added to the story. And without this sequence and without it taking as long as it had to, this match maybe wouldn't have connected with me as much as it did. So I really, really appreciated that sequence. Maybe I'm in the minority with that. But we eventually get this big reset, and it leads to this great visual of both guys in the opposite corners just staring each other down, both with the bad necks, both knowing they might not have a lot left, but now it's time to give everything that they have to try to win that trophy and to go to the Tokyo Dome to wrestle for the IWGP Junior Heavyweight Championship. Hiromu's been there many times. Yo wants to be there. Yo is the aggressor. He hits like a big shotgun drop kick. Hiromu catches him running back in with his own, and then Yo tries to do the same, but Hiromu puts the brakes on and hits a big back elbow, and then hits another one. And it leads to all of these great, counter sequences and big near falls and big moves and everything that you would expect out of a New Japan main event you start to get here. And again, it's, from Hiromu, maybe we expect this at this point. He's had the big, main event or semi-main event matches before, but from Yo, this is him performing to a level in which we've never seen. And it's great, compelling stuff. They do this great counter sequence in and out of one of Hiromu's signatures, the Dynamite Plunger, and it leads to this point where, they have wrist control, and Hiromu just starts throwing these big, Ishii-style headbutts, finally gets the Dynamite Plunger for 2. Yo goes back to the leg at one point, gets a big counter dragon screw, hits a big superplex and chains that into a suplex over his knee. But he goes to try to hit his finishing move, and Hiromu counters that into a roll up for a really, really good near fall, again kind of showing that desperation. Yo hits an incredible super kick in this match that I loved, where he basically leaves his leg kind of extended from it, in the aftermath of it, and it was great. It was out of nowhere, and it was perfectly done. It follows that up with a big dragon suplex for 2. Hiromu ends up getting the time bomb for 2. They really go deep into their near fall arsenal, and it's really, really great. There's a point where Hiromu uses basically the shock arrow, the same move that Sho dropped them both with which I loved, because he knew firsthand how dangerous that move was, and that, you know, another one of those to Yo might put him away. So I loved that he went into that playbook. There's a moment where Hiromu like kind of baits Yo in and slaps him, and then when Yo goes for another slap, Hiromu catches him back in that triangle, but this time Yo has it countered and, you know, flips over into a jackknife pin for a really good 2 count. And it leads to this moment where Hiromu goes for a big lariat. Yo gets one final near fall. He gets the 5-star clutch, which is like his signature roll-up that he basically uses as a finish. Hottest near fall of the match. He only gets 2 off of it. I bought it at the time, you know, watching it. Again, I've talked about it, you know, near falls that make you bite when you know the result of the finish. Watching them back later are always really great, and, you know, are one of the markings of a true match that they get you to buy into the, you know, into the story still. And I bit on that one watching it now. It's a great last near fall, but Hiromu, you know, blows him away with one more final big lariat. Has to go deep into his arsenal and hit time bomb too, and it's enough to put Yo away. This match, you know, coming in at the end of the year, coming in from kind of a mediocre tournament, you know, all of the criticisms and complaints with New Japan that I mentioned at the top of the video, I feel like this one really got lost in the shuffle, but it is great. It is dramatic. It tells a phenomenal story. The work is great, and it's a match that, you know, I don't know if it'll be held, you know, as this classic best of the Super Junior finals, of which there, you know, have been so many throughout the years. But it really deserves to be that way. And, you know, I thought that maybe it would get a spot on this top 50. Hiromu and Desperado was, you know, kind of low on the list. I was surprised with how much I loved this, watching it back, you know, and why it landed so high on this match in the top half. It's really quite deserving of it. And if you didn't give it a look at the time, if you know you're put off by the runtime of the match, trust me, it is worth it. You can watch it, of course, on New Japan World. You can subscribe to my channel here on YouTube so that you never miss a video. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter at Wrestling50. And please join me again next time as we continue to count down Pro Wrestling's Top 50.